What you should know about masturbation as you get older. This is a question you rarely encounter. Have you ever caught yourself wondering if certain things that used to feel natural and simple in your younger years still make sense now? Maybe it's a quiet evening, you're flipping through the channels, or sitting with your thoughts, and there's this question that lingers. Am I too old for this? And by this, I mean something personal. Something a lot of people keep to themselves. Masturbation. Now, before you feel the urge to click away or think, that's not something people my age talk about, just hear me out. You're not alone in this. Thousands of folks over 60 quietly wonder about it, whether it's normal, whether it's healthy, or if it's something they should feel embarrassed about. And that's exactly why we're here today. We're going to have a real, honest, and thoughtful conversation about what you should know about masturbation as you get older. No judgment, no awkwardness, just facts, guidance, and a bit of encouragement to help you feel confident and comfortable with your body, no matter your age. In this video, we're going to talk about how masturbation can affect your health as you get older, why it's a topic worth paying attention to, and some important things to keep in mind to make sure it remains a healthy part of your life. So whether you're already comfortable with it or just curious, settle in, grab a cup of tea or coffee, and let's start with the first thing that really matters. The first thing to understand is that yes, masturbation is normal at any age. That includes your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Our bodies don't come with an expiration date for pleasure or intimacy. For many people, sexual desire might naturally shift or decrease with age, but that doesn't mean it disappears entirely. And for those who continue to enjoy it, masturbation can actually be a valuable part of staying connected with yourself. It's not just about physical release, it's also about relaxation, stress relief, and even keeping certain bodily functions in check. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but isn't it unhealthy at my age? And that brings us to the second important point. Masturbation, when practiced in moderation and with self-awareness, can actually have health benefits for older adults. It's true. Gentle sexual activity like this can support circulation, help keep pelvic muscles active, and may even play a role in maintaining hormone balance. Plus, let's not ignore the mental side of things. It can help relieve tension, reduce feelings of loneliness, and even help some people sleep better. You see, as we age, maintaining both physical and emotional well-being becomes more important than ever. And when we talk about self-care, that includes all aspects of yourself. Yes, including sexual health. Think about it like this. If you were taking care of a classic car, you wouldn't just keep the exterior polished. You'd also make sure the engine and all the moving parts stay in good working order. Your body isn't any different. But here's something I want to mention because it often gets overlooked. The importance of listening to your body. That's our third point. As we get older, we become more aware of little signals our bodies send us. Aches here, stiffness there. The same applies when it comes to intimate activity. If something doesn't feel right, it's okay to slow down or check in with a healthcare provider. For example, if you notice discomfort, changes in function, or anything that seems unusual, that's not something to ignore. It doesn't mean you should stop entirely. It just means paying attention and making sure everything is in balance. Some people worry about overdoing it, especially if they've always had a strong drive. The key here is moderation. Masturbation isn't something that needs to be scheduled like a doctor's appointment, but if you find it's becoming more of a habit that interferes with other parts of life, like spending time with loved ones, hobbies, or simply resting, that's a sign to check in with yourself. It's about balance, not restriction. Another thing that often comes up in these conversations is energy levels. You might wonder if masturbation takes too much out of you physically as you age. The truth is, for most people, it doesn't. It's not the same as running a marathon or lifting weights. Of course, if you have specific medical conditions like heart issues or high blood pressure, it's always smart to ask your doctor about what's safe. But in general, this kind of gentle activity doesn't strain the body in ways that would be harmful to someone in their 60s or 70s. Now, you might be curious about how often is considered healthy. And while there isn't a one-size-fits-all answer, the simplest way to think about it is this. If it feels good, doesn't cause discomfort, and doesn't interfere with your daily life, you're in a healthy range. Some people might feel content once a week, while others might not feel the need for a month or more. That's perfectly fine. Your body, your rhythm. What matters most is being kind to yourself. Aging comes with plenty of changes, some welcome, some less so, but learning to accept and care for your body as it is today is one of the best gifts you can give yourself. There's a quiet confidence that comes from knowing your own needs and honoring them, even in ways that society doesn't always talk about openly. And as we move forward, we're going to explore a few more key things to keep in mind, because this is just the start of the conversation. There are still some important aspects to consider, especially when it comes to maintaining both emotional and physical well-being as you age. So, let's keep going. Now, continuing where we left off, one thing that deserves a closer look is how self-pleasure connects to emotional well-being. When we talk about health after 60, we often focus on things like heart health, mobility, or maybe managing medications. But there's another layer that's just as important: our sense of self, of feeling connected, valued, and alive. For many people, especially as we grow older and our routines shift, our sense of closeness to others can change. Maybe the kids have grown up and moved away, or friends aren't as close as they once were. And sometimes the silence in the room can feel louder than it used to. That's where self-intimacy plays a quiet but powerful role. Masturbation isn't only about the physical act. It's about maintaining a connection with yourself. It's a way to remind yourself that you still matter, that your body and your pleasure deserve attention. I can't tell you how many people I've spoken with who say things like, "I didn't think it was worth bothering with anymore." But the truth is, you don't stop deserving comfort and joy just because a few more birthdays have passed. Now let's talk about privacy and mindset, because this often holds people back. Sometimes it's not about physical ability, but about what we believe is acceptable or appropriate. Maybe you were raised in a time when these topics weren't discussed openly, when touching yourself was seen as something shameful or childish. But times have changed, and so have understandings of health. Today we know that self-intimacy is part of self-care, not something to hide from or feel guilty about. Still, old habits can be hard to shake. If you find yourself feeling uneasy, it helps to remind yourself why you're doing it. To stay connected with your body, to relax, to feel good. It's like enjoying a quiet walk in the park. Nobody questions that, and this is no different. Your body is still your own, and giving yourself permission to enjoy it is a simple but powerful act of kindness. Now, another key point is to consider the physical changes that naturally come with age. Our skin becomes thinner, sensitivity might change, and certain movements might not feel quite the same as they did in your 30s or 40s. That's completely normal. It doesn't mean the experience has to disappear. It just means adapting a little. Some people find that using lubricants makes a big difference, especially as dryness can become more common with age. There's nothing unusual about that. It's just part of keeping things comfortable. Lubricants have come a long way from what you might remember. There are water-based ones, silicone-based, even natural options made with ingredients like aloe vera. Choosing one that feels good and is gentle on sensitive skin can make all the difference. It's a small adjustment that helps keep things pleasant rather than irritating. Along with that, let's not forget about pace. As we grow older, taking things a bit slower becomes a kind of art. Rushing isn't necessary. In fact, slowing down can make the whole experience more enjoyable. Pay attention to how your body feels. Let things unfold naturally. This slower rhythm isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom, of knowing how to savor the moment rather than race through it. That brings me to another gentle reminder. Flexibility matters. If certain positions or movements feel uncomfortable now, there's no need to push yourself. Adjust as needed. Find what feels easy and natural. Sometimes that means sitting in a cozy chair rather than lying down, or propping up pillows for support. Your comfort comes first. While we're here, let's also touch on something many folks wonder about, but hesitate to say out loud: the question of whether masturbation affects relationships at this age. If you're single, it can be a lovely way to enjoy intimacy without needing a partner. But even if you're in a relationship, it doesn't have to be seen as replacing closeness with your partner. In many cases, it actually complements it. Self-pleasure can help keep you in tune with your own desires, which in turn can make shared intimacy even more rewarding. If both partners are open to it, Even talking about it together can strengthen your bond. It's not about secrecy or shame. It's about understanding each other better, even in your golden years. And if you're on your own, it can offer a quiet kind of companionship with yourself that's just as valuable. Now, before we move on, let me share something that a friend once told me. He said, "It's funny, you spend your youth worrying what other people think, and by the time you realize their opinions don't matter, you've wasted all that time." That really stuck with me. Life after 60 can be some of the freest years you'll ever have, if you let them be. Embracing self-care in all its forms, yes, including masturbation, is part of that freedom. So far, we've talked about listening to your body, adapting to physical changes, and finding peace with your own mindset. But there's still more to consider when it comes to ensuring this part of your life stays both healthy and fulfilling. So let's keep this conversation going. As we continue this conversation, I want to take a moment to really focus on something that often gets brushed aside: emotional balance. See, beyond the physical and mental benefits we've talked about, there's also the very real need for emotional fulfillment. As we age, emotions can sometimes catch us off guard. Loneliness can sneak in. Feelings of loss or change can settle heavier than we expect. And that's completely natural. What matters is how we respond to those feelings. And for some, self-pleasure becomes one of those quiet ways to reconnect with a sense of calm, comfort, and even joy. Now, I know some folks might still feel hesitant, especially if faith or upbringing plays a part in how they see these things. It's a personal choice. There's no pressure either way. But if you do find yourself wondering whether it's okay, I always say this: anything that brings peace and doesn't harm yourself or others deserves its place in your life. That includes simple, private moments where you care for yourself in whatever way feels right. One thing I want to be very clear about is keeping an eye on your overall health. If you're managing health conditions like arthritis, high blood pressure, or diabetes, it's important to treat masturbation like any other activity. Pay attention to how your body responds. If there's discomfort or strain, take it as a sign to slow down or adjust. And if there are ongoing concerns, things like unexpected pain, swelling, or changes that don't feel right, it's smart to check in with your doctor. These aren't things to feel embarrassed about. Medical professionals are there to help you stay healthy, including in areas that might not always come up in a regular checkup. Another gentle word about medications. Some prescriptions can affect libido or sensitivity. That's completely normal. Blood pressure medications, antidepressants, and even some heart medicines can shift how things feel physically. If you notice changes, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means your body's adjusting, and there are often ways to work around it. Sometimes, simply changing your approach, being slower, using more lubrication, or finding new techniques, makes all the difference. And while we're being honest here, let's talk a little about staying safe and clean. Just as you'd wash your hands after gardening or making a meal, taking care of personal hygiene matters in intimate moments too. Keeping things clean helps prevent irritation and infection. If you use toys or aids, it's a good idea to clean them properly and store them in a dry place. Again, it's nothing to feel awkward about. It's just part of staying healthy. Now, as we begin to round out this conversation, I want to touch on mindset again, because it's such an important part of enjoying this phase of life fully. There's this idea that once you hit a certain age, life becomes about slowing down, stepping back, or letting go of things that once brought joy. But in truth, these years can be filled with new kinds of freedom. More time for yourself, more confidence, fewer worries about what others think. Embracing things like self-intimacy is just one small piece of that larger picture of living with intention and self-respect. It's about permission, really. Giving yourself permission to still want, still enjoy, still experience things fully. That applies not just to touch, but to all areas of life. Picking up hobbies, exploring new places, trying new foods. Why not let that same spirit apply here too? Now, before we finish, let's gently sum up the key things we've talked about today. Masturbation after 60 is not only normal, it can actually support your physical and emotional health. It helps with circulation, muscle tone, hormone balance, stress relief, and even better sleep. Listening to your body is essential. Adjusting for comfort, using lubrication when needed, and slowing down all help make the experience better suited to your needs today. Maintaining good hygiene and paying attention to your medical needs are part of the picture as well. And maybe most importantly, embracing this side of self-care without guilt or shame is a step toward living fully and happily at any age. Remember, small changes make a big difference. It doesn't take huge leaps to feel more at ease with yourself. Sometimes just sitting quietly, allowing yourself to feel connected and present, is enough. That's true whether you're gardening, painting, walking, or taking a private moment for self-pleasure. Before we wrap up completely, I'd really love to hear from you. If anything in today's video resonated with you, or if you have your own thoughts or experiences to share, feel free to leave a comment below. You never know. Your words might help someone else feel a little less alone in their journey. And if you found this video helpful, please go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe for more conversations like this. We cover all kinds of topics meant to help you live your best, healthiest, and happiest life after 60, whether it's health, relationships, or simply how to find joy in the everyday moments. So, here's to living fully, loving yourself, and embracing every part of who you are. Because age doesn't take away your worth, your joy, or your right to feel good in your own skin. Here's to living your best life at any age.